Number 10. Counter-Earth Doom. First up, we see an alternate version of Doom being born, the Counter-Earth Doom, created by the High Evolutionary orbiting the sun on the opposite side of our regular Earth. Victor attends school with Reed Richards. The experiment still went south, it still blew up in his face, only he didn't hate Reed after this. He didn't put the blame on him, rather, Reed convinced him to be a good guy and not a villain. Score. What? So in Warlock issue 5, Doom successfully stops a bomb during a test and the public loved him. And then in Warlock issue 6, Doom partnered up with Adam Warlock himself. What a super duo. And then finally in issue 7, we see this Victor meet his demise, taking on the Brazen Brute, who in that reality was actually Reed Richards. Doom ended up using an absorber device to suck up the Brute's energy, causing it to explode. And believe it or not, Doom died a hero in this tale. See, not all alternates in here are bad. Some, dare I say, are kind of cute, but we'll get to that guy later. But before we get onto those other weird versions of Dr. Doom, if you want to go ahead and make sure you're subscribed to this channel, or even the like button works too, both helps us out tremendously. You nerds rock. Now let's get back to this list. Number 9. Zombie Doom. Coming from the Marvel Zombies Army of Darkness universe, we get a version of Victor that starts out honestly a pretty decent guy. Again, he originally wanted to keep others safe using his castle as a shelter from the zombie apocalypse. He wants a certain handful of heroes to stay in the castle, so after the zombie plague ends, he can then use them to repopulate the earth. He only let a specific amount of people in, so it was nice, but it's like, could be better. He's a villain, so you can't expect much. Now, if there's anything that we know in 2021, it's that no matter where you go, the plague shall follow. The castle had a breach, the virus got in, and Doom got infected. Now, normally this sounds like things are going to get so much worse, but Doom transported the survivors to an alternate universe right before their gross fate. Not all these alternates are bad. I mean, most of them are bad, most of them for sure, but not all of them. Like I said, some are kind of cute. Number 8, Dr. Doom. I wasn't lying when I said cute. Here we go. Coming from the strange Earth 8311, as you probably could have guessed, this world sees our finest superheroes and supervillains as animals. He first showed up in Peter Porker the Spectacular Spider-Ham storyline back in 1985. The issue starts off with the Avengers saving the day. We meet these weird versions of them page by page. It's super fun, but perhaps the most intriguing change, despite the, animal stuff, is that Dr. Doom is a pop star in this reality, which takes so much skill on top of the whole villain thing. He's a pop star. So many hours of rehearsing. Imagine getting floor seats to Dr. Doom. What a ride. What a treat. Number 7, Count Otto von Doom. Taking a step back now to the 1602 storyline, Count Otto von Doom, a friend of Sir Richard Reed, there we go. He was still the ruler of Latveria, only his father was involved in studying these shady ways of breeding. So he had these humanoid creatures serve him. Always nice to have a helping hand, I guess, even if it's like that. So when the 4 from the Fantastic, great alternate name, came along, he of course captured and imprisoned them. So while Reed was in prison, Doom would casually strike up a conversation and try to pick Reed's brain. He was desperate to learn more about explosives, poisons, machines, you name it, anything to gain power. Count Otto was as evil as they get, even back in the day. Now, he sent assassins to England to take out Sir Nicholas Fury, Virginia Dare, and Queen Elizabeth I. The Queen! Doom's men tracked down Natalia Romanova, and Doom even paid her off for the Templar's secret treasure, which was a strange golden sphere. Like Assassin's Creed style as part of the comic. But when Doom raised the sphere to the sky in true villain form, it was struck by lightning, and Doom thought this was how he got his powers. But in this reality, it's just how he got his scars. So when he heard about the 4 who are frightful, again, an amazing name, finding a lost mystical city, he figured this might be a way to heal the face. So he got a group to lead this journey, even hiring William Shakespeare to document the whole trip, vlog style. What a show off. Number 6, Earth X. This storyline I think humans are well on their way towards. So after the Earth started to experience a food supply shortage, the UN decides, you know what, let's just rummage the sea and get our food from there, whatever, since land has nothing else to offer. Now, Namor wasn't too thrilled about this being an Atlantean and all, so he asked Doom to go to war with the humans, even promising that Doom can straight up rule a planet if they win. Sorry, when they win. Hopeful. So Doom's soul ended up in the realm of the dead after that, but that's home for Doom. That's certainly not the end, not by a long shot. Doom then ended up assisting Marvel in a fight against death, resulting in him acting as a defender of paradise. He literally turned into like this angel form. What a look. Number 5. Ultimate Doctor Doom. Earth 1610, home of the Ultimates, we find Victor Van Dame make his first appearance at Ultimate Fantastic Four, issue 2. Later on, he worked alongside Reed Richards to develop a teleporter to the end zone, but without anybody else knowing, Victor changed the coordinates, and that's what resulted in the creation of the Fantastic Four's powers. Thing was, Van Dame was also caught up in this accident, turning his skin into this metallic flesh. He had these clawed hands, and his legs resembled that of a demonic goat with hooved legs. It was a thing. He ended up becoming the leader of the Keep, which was a small nation, but he made every citizen get a snake tattoo so he could then use that to control their minds. Not bad. 10 points to Slytherin. Number 4. Lord Doom. This sounds great already. Coming from the Old Man Logan storyline, issue 71, volume 3 of Wolverine, we get to meet one of my favorite versions of Doom. Lord Doom has a pretty large chunk of land, bigger than we knew before. It was appropriately named Doom's Lair. I mean, it's a bit bigger, it's a bit of an upgrade. Doom teamed up with the other supervillains in the storyline and they all won. Most of our heroes were dead in this timeline. I don't know what it is, I love seeing villains win. The end of Infinity War, I was like, yes, do it. No one comes back, that's it. We don't see much of him, but knowing that he's part of the evil that's not only survived but still rules, it's quite intimidating. Number 3. All-Father Doom. After waking up in the future in 2099, Doom traveled to Latveria only to find a new ruler who took his spot, the cyborg Tiger Wilde. During all that time, somebody had to step up, but Doom wasn't having it. Being the fierce leader he is, he demanded that Wilde steps down from the throne, even though Wilde saved Latveria from its own demise. A fight naturally broke out, but Tiger Wilde's advanced tech allowed him to remain on top. To add to Doom's horrible day, Tiger took off Doom's mask and noticed that there weren't any scars, despite of what history has taught him. So he took it upon himself to scar Victor by burning him himself. Terrible. So afterwards, Tiger ordered Fortune to kick him out. Only Fortune, she saw Doom as her only chance to overthrow Wilde. So she took him back to her Romani clan Zafiro, and they found a doctor in the Pixel Corporation on the Isla Lobos de Aferia. The Dr. Celia Quinones enhanced Doom with nanotechnology. That plus stolen pixel tech allowed for Doom to be a little more mighty on his next trip to Latveria to retake his throne. Number 2. Dictator Doom. In the House of M storyline, placed in the alternate reality of Earth 58163, beginning in 2005, in this story we see Doom take on a new approach with Magneto. See, during the Mutant Human War, Doom stood next to him and he fought beside him. At this point, Doom knew that mutants were going to come out on top, so if you can't beat them, join them. They are supervillains, so it's not like they got along or anything. They still didn't trust one another, but they respected each other's powers and goals. So after the mutants did win, Doom took over New Latveria, marrying his love, Valeria. So Doom studied the bodies of Reed Richards, John Jameson, Ben Grimm, and Susan Storm. He studied their cosmic rays and then soon figured out how to advance himself and others. So Valeria, his love, became the new Invincible Woman, and their adopted son Kristoff became the Inhuman Torch. With the addition of a monstrous Ben Grimm to serve, they became the Fearsome Four. And finally, number 1, God Emperor Doom. Even that name alone, this version for sure takes the cake. After being empowered by the Beyonders, Doom became the ruler of Battleworld, and for years and years he toyed with the minds of our remaining heroes until they honestly didn't remember what life before them was even like. It was all a blur at that point. He ruled next to his sheriff, Dr. Strange, and married that world's Susan Storm, now becoming the father of Franklin and Valeria. Johnny Storm was cast out, literally becoming the sun, while the Thing became the wall surrounding Battleworld's edges. Crazy. Doom's science division was the Future Foundation, and his backup was none other than the Thor Corps, a police force made up entirely of Thors from across the multiverse. And yes, that probably includes Throg. When it comes to power, the Secret Wars version of Doom isn't a joke. He took down a Phoenix-powered Cyclops with ease, and he stopped Black Panther, who at the time was wielding the Infinity Gauntlet. After Molecule Man took the godly powers from Doom, the multiverse was restored, but the fear still lives in our head rent-free. Now, with the MCU bringing Marvel's first family to the big screen right after the multiverse run of movies, I feel like we could possibly see this Secret Wars version of Doom sooner than we think. I think the next big movie is going to be Secret Wars. I'm calling it. after Young Avengers, then Secret Wars.
Number 10. Dictator Doom. In House of M, Scarlet Witch uses her reality warping powers to alter reality so that the mutants have all the power. Magneto rises up and Dr. Doom decides, although he is not a mutant, to join his side. Although the two never fully trust each other, the alliance ends up being a profitable one, with Magneto winning his fight and Dr. Doom returning home to the new Latveria and becoming their new ruler. He also marries his childhood sweetheart Valeria and still adopts Kristoff as an Earth 616. Using a combination of mystics, technology, and cosmic rays, Doom turns Valeria into the Invincible Woman, Kristoff into the Inhuman Torch, and creates a metallic liquid which he used to create armor and weapons for himself. He also recruits Ben Grimm, transforming him into It. Together, these four make up the Fearsome Four. Number 9. Dr. Doom Goes to the Future. In Iron Man Volume 1, Issue 205, Dr. Doom and Iron Man from the present are transported by an artifact to the future, specifically 2093. In this future, they are in Camelot, where Merlin and King Arthur need their help in space. This adventure is pretty silly and fantastic, and includes the unpaving of a rebuilt suburban area to reveal the Magic Lake, where Excalibur and the Lady of the Lake reside, Iron Man versus future Iron Man, and Dr. Doom destroying future Dr. Doom. Why? Because future Dr. Doom is reduced to a head and some organs encased in a Doom-like armor, and present Doom is disappointed in him. Doom even uncovers Iron Man's secret identity, but forgets it when they are transported back to Earth. Both Stark and Doom actually forget the entire adventure, which might be for the best. Sounds like a wacky time. Number 8. What if Dr. Doom was Iron Man? In this edition of the famous Marvel What If series, this is the question we get an answer to. In this one-off, Stark and Doom go to school together, and Doom, envious of Stark's wealth and potential success, swaps minds with him. He then erases the memory of the former Tony Stark, now in Doom's body. The two go their separate ways. The mind of Stark builds up Doom's name and creates the successful Doom Industries. Meanwhile, the mind of Doom turns Stark Industries into a place that is often associated with words like greed, power, and lust. In this series, we get to see the Iron Man suit as built by the mind of Dr. Doom. Doom and Stark eventually meet again and fight, resulting in the defeat of Doom's mind in Stark's body. Doom then reveals to Stark that the mind swap happened in school. He offers to swap back with Stark, but Stark refuses, saying that Doom has ruined the Stark name and reputation, and that he himself now prefers to be Dr. Doom. Number 7. Marvel Zombies vs. Army of Darkness. That's right, we get to see zombie Dr. Doom. Eventually. At first, Dr. Doom is actually doing some good in this comic. He has a castle where he is trying to keep survivors safe from the zombie apocalypse, though he is somewhat selective in who he lets in. His original plan is to protect them, keep them alive, and later repopulate the earth once the zombies are gone. In this comic, he even runs into Ash Williams from the Evil Dead verse. He ends up imprisoning Ash because he was acting like an idiot. But Ash escapes, and it is soon revealed that the infection has penetrated the castle. Dr. Doom becomes infected, but is able to transport the survivors to an alternate universe before the infection takes over. He then destroys the device before letting the infection consume him. Number 6. Earth X Dr. Doom. This is the reality where Dr. Doom becomes a sort of metal angel with wings. How does this happen? The Earth is experiencing a food shortage, and the UN decides, since they're not making enough food on land, to turn to the sea. This angers Namor, an Atlantean, especially because he was not even consulted. Namor then asks Dr. Doom to wage war against the humans and offers that Dr. Doom can rule Earth when they win. Dr. Doom agrees to help him. During the battle, the Fantastic Four comes to stop Namor and Doom. Both Johnny Storm and Namor perish in the fight, and Doom considers destroying Susan Storm to hurt Richards even more, using a bomb he keeps in his suit that has a second function, to teleport Doom and his armor to safety when used. Doom decides to go ahead with this plan, and the bomb malfunctions and kills both Susan and Doom. The two go to the underworld, where Captain Marvel is trying to create an uprising to defeat death. Doom unknowingly helps Susan Storm become resurrected, which in turn is what Captain Marvel wanted. Doom joins up with Captain Marvel, who then succeeds in his uprising and creates a place known as Pleasure. Doom is given wings and joins the avenging host, which guards Pleasure. Number 5. Ultimate Doom. In Earth 1610, Victor Van Dame goes to school with Reed Richards, but works with him on his teleporter. After Reed Richards programs the coordinates to the end zone, Van Dame changes them, resulting in an accident which leaves Van Dame disfigured, turning his skin into a metal hide. Although Dame continuously claims it was Richards' faulty programming that caused the accident, which was so bad apparently that even Dame could not fix it. In this reality, Dr. Doom ends up becoming the leader of a small nation known as the Keep in Denmark. He offers the poor populace comfort and security in exchange for their loyalty. What they don't know is their loyalty is being taken by Doom through mind-controlling snake tattoos that he insists the citizens have. Number 4. Doom becomes Galactus. Marvel 2-in-1 is a series that saw two pretty big firsts. Dr. Doom working alongside Reed Richards to protect the galaxy, and Dr. Doom merge with consumer of planets, Galactus. Now I know what you're thinking. Doom is always looking for more power, so was he really playing nice with Reed Richards? And you're right! Doom seems to have only been helping Richards to get to Galactus. Before Galactus could devour the Earth, Doom merged with Galactus using ovoid technology. The two merging preserves the Earth, but at the expense of every other planet being destroyed. Number 3. Count Otto von Doom, the Handsome. In the comic series Marvel 1602, Dr. Doom is known as Otto von Doom the Handsome. In this series, he becomes disfigured by seeking the Templar's secret. He ends up getting his hands on the secret with help from his ally, Natasha Romanoff, but it blows up in his face, literally. He then begins wearing metal armor and a mask to hide his disfigurement. He is also still the nemesis of the Fantastic Four, known as the Four from the Fantastic in this series. Dr. Doom gets up to quite a bit of trouble in 1602. He journeys to a lost city at the edge of the earth, kills Elizabeth I, and kidnaps William Shakespeare. Number 2. Good guy Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom first appears in this reality in the 1976 comic Marvel Premiere Issue 2. In this series, Dr. Doom still went to school with Reed Richards, but is not enemies with him. In fact, the two became friends after Richards helped him following Doom's disfigurement. Dr. Doom does not wear his traditional costume in the series, but instead wears a suit with a lab coat over top and a metal mask. This is probably the closest to a superhero that we see Dr. Doom in the comics. Doom even has a direct line to the president and uses it to warn him about an imminent devastating earthquake. He becomes friends with Adam Warlock and even sacrifices himself to save Adam in Warlock issue number 7. Number 1. God Emperor Dr. Doom. This is probably the coolest version of Doom. In this verse, Doom is a god who, after the collision of two different Earths, absorbs all the power from both universes and becomes omnipotent and almost completely indestructible. In this version, Doom uses his powers to create Battleworld, where Doctor Strange is his right-hand man and sheriff. Battleworld is the fusion of bits and pieces of different worlds together, a Frankenworld if you will. Here, God Emperor Doom meets an alternate version of Susan Storm, who comes from a universe where there never was a Reed Richards. She falls in love with Doom and ends up having 2 children with him. Although God Emperor Doom still gets defeated in this series, Reed Richards tries to help Doom by changing his memory so he believes that Richards is dead, and by curing his disfigurement. Despite being defeated in this series, it ends with Dr. Doom smiling. Number 10. Made the Thing a villain. Way back when, in his classic villain days where many of Dr. Doom's plots were overly elaborate and therefore somewhat ridiculous, he created a time paradox when he forced the Fantastic Four to go back in time to retrieve Blackbeard's treasure. In so doing, he and the Fantastic Four team in essence created the dread Blackbeard, which it turned out was actually none other than Ben Grimm. In other words, Pirate Blackbeard would have never existed if not for Dr. Doom and the FF. So 1, he not only created the legend of a rather cruel and vicious pirate, but he also made one of Marvel's biggest softies take on that role. Poor Ben. Number 9. DOOMBOTS. Dr. Doom has committed enough atrocious acts of justice himself, it's true. But then you also factor in all the deeds his DOOMBOTS have done as well. There have actually been many instances that we've thought Doom himself was responsible for various villainous acts, only to find out that we were fooled by Dr. Doom and that this was actually a DOOMBOT disguised as him. There have also been many instances where we've thought Doom had died as well, only to find out that it was just a DOOMBOT who had perished. Still, although passionate fans will be quick to point out instances in the comics where that Doom was actually a DOOMBOT posing as the real deal, the truth remains that as the creator of DOOMBOTS, Dr. Doom is still technically responsible for all of their villainous and in some rare cases, good acts. Very rare that they're good. Number 8. Mind-controlled dragon tattoos. In the Ultimate Universe of Earth 1610, Victor Von Doom's alternate counterpart, Victor Van Dame, ended up using dragon tattoos to mind-control those who joined his micronation known as the Free Zone in Denmark. In reality, those who joined the rent-free shanty town were not actually as free as they thought. In exchange for free living, those who joined Van Dame's Free Zone were asked to get dragon tattoos. Now, these tattoos allowed Van Dame to control the citizens as the microfibers in the tattoo interfaced with the wearer's brain. Number 7. Tortured the Fantastic Four family, including their son Franklin. And this is when he was just a little kid, by the way. Poor little Franklin. Of course, Franklin Richards is a super powerful mutant in the world of the comics, but when faced with a horde of demons, it became frighteningly clear both how horrified he was and how innocent and vulnerable Franklin still was as a child. This experience left Franklin traumatized even after the Fantastic Four family managed to escape their fate. Dr. Doom sent Franklin to hell while torturing every other member of the Fantastic Four. He forced the Thing to fight endless losing battles, set fire to Sue Richards, trapped Reed in a room filled with magic from which he could not escape, and gave the Human Torch Mr. Fantastic's powers, and then proceeded to use those stretching powers to tie him into a knotted monstrosity. Number 6. His relationship with Scarlet Witch. This was just a weird and convoluted story in general, but basically Dr. Doom managed to wipe Wanda Maximoff's memories, and then she fell in love with him and they were to be married. She didn't know who she was until Wiccan showed up and reminded her of her origin story and her family. Eventually Wanda put 2 and 2 together and figured out that Doom was manipulating her due to the fact that he seemed so concerned with her actually believing Wiccan's story. What's up with that, Doom? Doom also claimed to be doing everything out of concern for protecting the world from Scarlet Witch's unpredictable and unstoppable reality warping powers, and for his real and true love of Wanda. He really loved her, so he claimed. However, he later revealed himself to be a man obsessed with only power when Wanda transferred her reality warping power of the life force to him, and he went all crazy. He also claimed to be responsible for the death of the Avengers and mass extinction of the mutants. He was like, that wasn't Wanda, that was me. Wait, what? Number 5. Sacrificed his first love for sweet, sweet armor. Dr. Doom's inspiration for the name he gave his goddaughter Sue and Reed Richards' little baby girl Valeria came from his first love, a love that later returned to his life and who he learned was the only woman he had ever really loved. So he claimed. When she did return, however, it was revealed that Dr. Doom had ulterior motives for his oldest and truest love. He didn't want to be with her, not in a traditional sense anyways. He wanted to sacrifice her life and her soul in order to earn himself some powerful mystical armor. Readers watched as Valeria's skin burned away and her flesh was remade into Doom's shiny new armor. Number 4. Battleworld. Following the incursions, Dr. Doom was turned into God Emperor Doom when worlds collided and were destroyed, prompting Doom to use newly acquired reality warping powers and sort of reality mending powers to create his own universe. This universe would become known as Doom's Battleworld, a patched together combination of the broken Marvel realities. Doom himself became a god to all the heroes and citizens who lived there. He had his own army of Thors at his disposal, making Doctor Strange his deputy and turning Sue Storm into his consort. When Reed Richards finally managed to return and find Doom, he made Doom confess that Richards would have actually built a better world, and after fighting, Doom relinquished the power he'd used to Reed, who set out to actually remake the Marvelverse and most of its alternate realities once more, with only a few tweaks for improvements here and there. Number 3. Droit de Seigneur. While some may praise Dr. Doom for being a great ruler who brought prosperity to Latveria, we also need to acknowledge that he also snatches many of his people's rights and freedoms away in being their governing monarch and ruler. This was showcased when Dr. Doom exercised his right of droit de seigneur, marching into one of his faithful peasant Klaus's home on his wedding night and insisting that he be allowed to sleep with his bride Gretchen. While Klaus seems awkwardly accommodating, Gretchen appears downright shocked, upset, and possibly pissed off, and rightfully so. Also, yeah, Dr. Doom's Latveria still has a peasant class, so it isn't always depicted as being that great, because if it was, why do you have peasants? What's up with that? Number 2. Dictatorship Dependency. This is what Dr. Doom has created for Latveria, the nation he rules. While Latveria is considered a peaceful place with virtually no crime, nor problems of poverty or hunger harming its citizens, who do genuinely seem to worship and love their ruler, Victor Von Doom, it's also a place that has become so dependent on his leadership that anytime he leaves, it basically breaks. Meaning that if there ever comes a time when Doom must leave permanently or finally dies for good, Latveria's economy will collapse and the nation will quickly devolve into chaos and ruin. We've seen what has happened to Latveria before in the comics when Doom has ceased being its ruler, and it's truly never good for the nation. Number 1. Got bored of ruling the world. Remember that time Victor Von Doom took control of the Purple Man, aka Zebediah Killgrave, by trapping him in a psychoprism and used his focused powers by putting them in a gem, which he used to control the world? Now, you might think that sounds like the worst part of the story, Doom ruling the world, but in a strange twist, it actually wasn't. Using mind control, of course, is not really a heroic act, but in doing so, Dr. Doom was able to create peace on Earth. All wars ceased, no one went hungry, the global economy prospered under his rule. However, with no one to challenge him, Doom became bored. So he abandoned ruling the world just as the heroes rushed in to stop him, freeing the world, but in doing so also returning it to a state of disorder and chaos, which may have been the real crime in this story. Just Doom being like, I don't want to rule anymore, and we're all like, but wait, you were actually good at it. You had to use mind control, but still.